Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a un nuevo vídeo del canal. Estamos aquí de vuelta con Genshin Impact. Nos encontramos en Inazuma. Ya ha llegado el momento de traeros algo que merece mucha pena. Concretamente quedan 6 días y tal, así que me tengo que poner a fuego. Pero es el Festival Irodori. En Inazuma están preparando una gran celebración conocida como el Festival Irodori. Vamos a decir que sí. Aquí tenemos un montón de cosas, como podéis ver. Incluso podremos reclutar aquí a un buen amigo como es Suikou. Así que creo que puede estar bastante guay. También tenemos la parte de leyendas de los Kasen, donde vamos a ver cositas de este evento. Todo esto, lo que digo, es bastante divertido. Así que vamos simplemente a empezar completando, en este caso, lo que es la primera misión del festival. Concretamente se llama, como podéis ver aquí, Elegancia Festiva. Parece que el gremio de aventuras de Inazuma tiene un encargo para ti. Ve a ver a Catherine y pregúntale de qué se trata. Pues bien, venimos aquí y hablamos con Catherine.
Hi, Catherine. We heard that you have a new commission.
That's correct. There's a requester who has submitted a designated commission for the two of you.
A designated commission?
Un encargo especial. ¿De qué se trata exactamente?
There's no need to worry. This commission is not dangerous by any means.
El Festival Irodori.
Yay! A festival! Oh, come to think of it, we haven't attended a festival in Inazuma for a while.
The Yashiro Commission and Lady Yae are responsible for all the festival preparations. The one who has requested your help is none other than Lady Yae herself.
Oh, Miko.
You know Miko. She always has some unusual ideas in her head. You can bet a festival planned by her is gonna be one to remember. We'd better go to Grand Narukami Shrine and see what she needs us to do.
Lady Yae is currently at Yae Publishing House in Hanamizaka, so there is no need to go all the way to the shrine. In fact, she has instructed me to have you directly meet with her there.
Oh, well that's convenient enough. Let's go then.
Vale, pues vamos allá. Ok, parece que con esto empieza el cuento de Suikou El Borracho, Historias de Irodori 1, ¿vale? Así que nada, vamos a, en este caso hay que dirigirnos a la editorial Yae y buscar a la mismísima Yae Miko. Supongo que en este festival vamos a poder ver a nuestros amigos de Inazuma y eso puede ser algo bastante divertido. Así que yo voy a venir con Xiao y vamos a venir a ver qué pasa con Yae Miko.
Aratani and Kuroda, how are
Okay.
things coming along?
All the books and commission prints for Yae Publishing House were bound and sent out yesterday afternoon, Lady Yae.
Very good. And Murata?
We have already received word from Apekusu and Sailing Breeze that the materials are all in place for Shogun Almighty reborn as Raiden with unlimited power and Pretty Please Kitsune Guji.
Well done. And what about you, Onodera? Ahem. Onodera?
Oh, yes, Lady Yae. Everything is ready for the new issue release party.
You are the one who organized the plans for this release party. In other words, you are the team's fearless leader now. So please, show some confidence. Besides, there's no need to be nervous. This project is destined for success. I feel quite optimistic about it. I shall specially grant you leave for the next couple of days, Onodera. Please take the opportunity to have a good rest. After all, you will be very busy on the day of the release party.
Yes, Lady Yae. Thank you very much.
All right then, is everyone clear about their assignments? Good. We are running out of time, so let's get moving. Chop chop! Hello, little ones. I take it you have received my commission,
Some organizer you are! It's nearly time for the festival and you're still over here ramping things up for your light novel business! Shouldn't you be getting back to the Grand Narukami Shrine? You weren't thinking of dumping all the festival preparations on us, were you? If so, then you can forget it! Paimon won't accept such a commission!
Y yo tampoco.
My, such harsh words. It hurts to hear that kind of talk from you two. But as you can clearly see, I'm here working like a dog for the festival. Yet you say I'm not doing my job. Let me ask you, little ones, Whoever said that the festival must involve the Grand Narukami Shrine?
Huh? But isn't that a given? This is Inazuma after all.
Yes, that is true. But now that the Sokoku decree has been lifted, Inazuma is no longer the same nation that once resisted change tooth and nail. Therefore, rather than sticking to the same old traditional festival, the Yashiro Commission and I have decided to shake things up a little. This time, we'll be holding an international cultural festival, distinctly Inazuman, but with a unique twist.
¿Internacional?
I suppose I should start by telling you the origins of the Irodori festival. Legend has it that there were 5 poets in ancient Inazuma who were supremely gifted in singing and writing poetry. They are known as the 5 Kasen. Every year, one of the 5 would present a collection of the group's poems to the shogun for review, which would then spark culture discussions regarding those works. Thanks to them, Inazuma's culture blossomed and gained great influence at that time. As time passed, people began creating various tales based on the 5 Kasen. The Irodori festival was also developed as a result to show appreciation for their works, which so greatly enriched our lives.
Sounds like a festival that's really rooted in culture.
Indeed. To describe it in the words of the ancients, it'd be refined elegance. Unfortunately, with the flow of time, people have gradually forgotten about the 5 Kasen and the festival. Which is precisely why I've decided to revive the Irodori festival by...
Vaya, sí que lo ha decidido ella y ya está.
Holding a cultural convention featuring light novels.
Ella y las novelas ligeras.
Wait a minute.
¿Novelas ligeras? ¿Qué hay de la elegancia refinada, Yae?
Please stop looking at me with those baffled expressions. In ancient times, poetry was all the rage. But nowadays, the entertainment format of... The important thing is not the format, but the creative work itself. It is impossible to come up with anything fresh if you're stuck using some rigid format of the past. Speaking of which, don't you think that the concept of focusing on the now perfectly suits the current Inazuma? And besides, it's a great opportunity to reintroduce Inazuma to all Teyvat through light novels. As they say, it's 2 birds with 1 stone.
No parece que estés diciendo la verdad.
Oh, that was close. Paimon was nearly carried away by Miko's persuasive tongue. Come on, Miko. You can't fool us. We know you by now. This is all definitely stemming from your own personal interest.
I can't deny that my hobbies had no part to play in this. However, regardless of whether it's light novels or a festival, catching people's attention with a fresh concept is the essence here. Well, what do you say? Aren't you two even a little curious about what interesting things you might see at the festival?
Yo creo que aquí ya la va a liar como siempre.
Oh, all right. Paimon's super curious now.
Come, let's pay a visit to the venue in Rito together. I promise that it will give you a whole new perspective on the festival. There we'll meet a special someone who will tell you more about your tasks.
Vale, ahora hay que dirigirnos al lugar del festival en Rito. Así que vamos a abrir el mapa y vamos a ir rapidito a una zona en la que seguro que nos lo pasamos en grande. Allá vamos. ¿Qué queréis que os diga? Me está pareciendo un evento interesante por el tema de que ya de base es un festival, siempre son cosas divertidas, es una manera fácil de ganar protogemas. Y bueno, yo creo que la historia del festival va a estar guay.
The area around the Outlander Affairs
Agency will become
the main exhibition space for light novels. Once things are in full swing, not only will there be lots of official and fan-created work on display, there'll also be exclusive giveaways, prizes, and new release parties. This small plaza in front of the International Trade Association will be called the 5 Kasen Plaza during the festival, and nearby shops will be selling special light novel merchandise. You certainly won't want to miss out.
Wow. How should Paimon put this? It's definitely not your typical festival, but it sure looks like it'll be quite the party.
Si la fiesta... Sí, la fiesta de las novelas ligeras.
Huh.
En fin.
Miko, what are these blank boards in the center of the plaza?
Yes, those are...
Ah, Lady I did mention that there would be
camiseta
some reliable helpers coming to assist with the festivities. It appears she meant you two. At last we meet again, Traveler and Paimon. Tell me, how are you faring recently?
Oh, it's Ayato! Wow, so even a busy guy like yourself is here to attend the Irodori Festival.
Preparing festivals falls under the Yashiro Commission's scope of responsibilities. Seeing as Lady Yae has poured her heart and soul into the preparations, I'm obliged to be equally dedicated.
Come now, Ayato. We're not strangers here. There's no need to sound so formal. We were just about to discuss the boards over here. They're related to our little helper's tasks, so I'll let you give them a detailed rundown.
Certainly. I assume you two already know that the Irodori Festival originated from the 5 Kasen. These 5 boards are here for painting their portraits. This Irodori Festival is not only the first major festival to be held in Inazuma since the lifting of the Sakoku decree, it is also an event deeply rooted in culture and the arts. Therefore, the Yashiro Commission has personally invited several cultural celebrities from other nations. For example, the artist we have invited to paint these portraits hails from the distant land of Mondstadt. The Yashiro Commission will arrange accommodations and food in Inazuma for each of the distinguished guests. However, we fear that staying in a foreign land may feel a little uncomfortable, which is precisely why it would be ideal to have someone familiar with both Inazuma and other nations of Teyvat to serve as a guide for our guests.
Entiendo.
I knew you would catch on. It is our hope that you would be able to guide the guests from the harbor to their residence at the International Trade Association, while providing any necessary assistance along the way. This arrival schedule includes the details of the ships on which the guests will be arriving. All you simply have to do is go to the docks at the indicated times.
Vale, 2 días antes del festival, información, segundo día del festival, tercer día, ok. Vale.
It's settled then. My, look at the time. I have to meet with my editors, so I must be going now. During the festival, most of the Yae Publishing House's editors will be staying near the Outlander Affairs Agency. If you run into any problems, you may find them there.
This festival requires the full cooperation of the Tri-Commission, and there are still many minor details which require my attention, so I must excuse myself for now. I'll leave the guests in your hands.
All the details we need about the ships are on the timetable that Ayato gave us. Let's take a
Vale,
closer
parece que ahora
look
tenemos
and be sure to
el
pick up
cuento
the
de
passengers
Suikou El
according to the
Borracho, ¿no?
times written on it.
Vale, vamos un momentito a ver el tema de misiones, porque... Vale, solo tenemos esto, ¿no? Y hay que esperar hasta el día siguiente entre las 6 y las 8 de la mañana. Así que ya sabéis, venimos aquí, vamos a lo de la hora y vamos a poner, por ejemplo, ¿vale? Como es el día siguiente. Por ejemplo, aquí a las 6 de la mañana en punto ya nos debería de funcionar. Vamos a ver. Ahí está. Vale. Vamos allá. Me está pareciendo muy interesante todo lo del festival.
There will be a ship arriving from Mondstadt today.
Vale. Ojo cómo se la han currado, a nivel de diseño, una pasada. Con las pancartas aquí de Yae Miko y la Raiden Shogun. Vale. Vamos a ir con Jin. Ah, el Dash de Shiva mola más. Buah, es que está muy bien decorado todo, La verdad que estos festivales se agradecen un montón. Vamos a ver qué pasa. ¡Epa! ¡Wow!
Hello! You must be here to take part in the Irodori Festival.
Yes, that's right. We are
Vale, pues
bards
aquí
from
está Lira, que es una...
Mondstadt.
Vaya con el nombre, ¿no? Lira, barda de Mondstadt. Top.
Word has it that Inazuma has undergone many changes of late. We hope to find fresh inspiration here.
Vale. Paimon, ¿se puede saber qué haces?
These guests are all bards, aren't they? Well, where's Tone-Deaf Bard then? Huh. Strange. He's pretty famous in Mondstadt. Do you think he didn't receive an invitation?
Tal vez lo invitaron y no quiso venir.
Huh? Why's that?
Ya sabes cómo es Venti, es un arconte.
Oh, Paimon sees
Bueno,
what
pero
you're
si le
getting
dicen
at.
que aquí hay
Even though
alcohol, seguro que
Venti
se
no
viene.
longer rules over Mondstadt, he's still an Archon. If he came rushing to Inazuma at the first mention of a festival, not only would it seem a little childish, it would also sort of be shameless of him too.
Mr. Honorary Knight, Paimon!
It's Klee! Were you also invited to the Irodori Festival?
No, Albedo's the one who received the invitation. But because everyone in the Knights of Favonius has been really busy these days, Albedo arranged for someone here to issue me a dependent pass.
Greetings, Traveler in Paimon. After hearing that Inazuma was making preparations for the Irodori Festival, I predicted that I might run into you here.
Ha! Paimon knew it! Albedo's the one they've invited to paint the 5 Kasen!
It seems that you already know why I'm here. Just so you're aware, I'll be using my pen name in Inazuma, Calx. Oh, by the way, do you know where the International Trade Association is? I'll be meeting with the editorial director of the Yae Publishing House there.
Yeah, the International Trade Association is where you'll be staying in Inazuma. We'll be heading there too.
Great. Let's get going then.
Ojo. Vale, pues parece que ahora hay que ir a la Cámara de Comercio Internacional. Me está gustando, lo que digo, poder ver a viejos amigos en este tipo de eventos. Creo que son las cosas que más avanzan en cuanto a lore e historia, aunque sea un evento que, lo que digo, no es el lore principal de la aventura, pero sí que es una manera, ¿no?, de ir viendo todos los personajes que poco a poco pues se han ido añadiendo a la aventura o con los que hemos ido compartiendo momentos. Y es una manera de juntar al grupo y pasarlo en grande. Así que la verdad que muy contento con esto, ¿eh? Vale, pues por ahí parece que está el siguiente, ¿no? ¡Klee! Como siempre, esa crack está on fire.
Slow down, Klee. Please be careful not to bump into others. Telling Klee so many stories about Inazuma during the trip was probably not the best idea. As a result, she could hardly sleep all the way here. It appears she's even more excited now that we've arrived.
Los niños son así.
Strange. It seems that the editorial director, Mr. Hiroyama, isn't here yet. I'm certain he said that he'd be sure to arrive before me. This might be a problem.
¿Qué sucede, Albedo?
Well, Mr. Hiroyama was supposed to meet with me and give me some reference materials about the 5 Kasen today. That way, I could better visualize the content for my paintings.
You mean you had no idea what you'd be painting before you arrived in Inazuma?
I only know of the 5 Kasen by name. Because of the sheer age of the tale, very little has been passed down to this day. So Mr. Hiroyama decided to help me collect some more information. I'm the type of painter who can complete a painting quickly as long as I'm inspired. So I agreed on only receiving the details today.
Vaya.
So when do the paintings have to be done by?
According to the festival plans, the portraits will be revealed one at a time throughout the various stages of the Irodori Festival.
The day after tomorrow? Then you're already running out of time!
There's no need to panic. When I was working on light novel illustrations, because the manuscripts are shipped by boat.
Bueno, y Albedo dibuja que flipas, y bueno, Klee de fondo ahí en plan planeando su siguiente explosión.
To ensure the latest book of A Legend of Sword would be finished for the Irodori Festival, I had to complete the final chapter's illustrations the same day I received them. I heard that my illustrations were sent to print as soon as they arrived in Inazuma.
Paimon isn't sure if she should feel sympathetic for your working conditions or compliment
Es bueno, en plan de no sé si te están sobreexplotando o
Of
bueno.
course, I would still prefer to receive any possible
Ahora que lo
reference
pienso,
materials in
Miko dijo
advance.
que...
Right! The editors of the Yai Pub
Vale, están
knows.
aquí alrededor, ¿no?
Maybe Mr.
Vale, pues vamos a buscar a Hirayama.
All right, it's worth a
Y
try.
mientras Klee ahí está, modo...
Klee,
Se ha tomado 4
you haven't
Coca-Colas
slept
y un
for
Red
a
Bull.
while
No,
now.
no, un Red Bull y un Monster, chaval.
Please stay at our residence in...
Okie dokie. Don't worry, Albedo. I'll be on my best behavior.
Me da miedo, Klee, yo os lo dejo caer. Vale, vamos a ver. Tenemos que ir al Buró de Asuntos Extranjeros, así que... Vamos un poquito al lío. Lo bueno es que está aquí al lado, así que no debería ser ningún problema poder llegar a él, ¿vale? Yo, como siempre, hago aquí el saltito rápido y al lío.
This
Vale,
can't
aquí
be
está la
happening.
Tani.
The moment we need to contact Onodera is when he's on special leave.
Esas son malas noticias.
Kuroda and I will go back to Inazuma City for an emergency printing run. The demand for this book is so high, though. Even with the emergency prints, it still might not be enough.
Despite everything, we're still lucky that we found out today. If this had happened a few days later, then we'd really be in boiling water. Hey, do you think that suspicious guy they found in the warehouse has anything to do with this?
Well, the editorial director is on his way over there to investigate the situation as we speak.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's going on here?
Oh, hey, traveler. Don't worry. It's nothing, just an internal issue. That's all. How can I help you?
I'm looking for the editorial director, Mr. Hirayama. Does anyone know where he is now?
Mr. Hirayama is currently at the warehouse down by the harbor.
Oh, hold on a second, Murata. Excuse me, but you must be Calx, the one who was invited to paint the 5 Kasen for the festival?
Yes, that's me.
Así que se llama
My name
Klee.
is Kuroda. You must be inquiring about information regarding the 5 Kasen. I do apologize, but please make yourself comfortable at the International Trade Association, and I will let Mr. Hirayama know to send you the materials right away.
Oh,
Vale.
no need. You guys look super busy, so we can go find him ourselves.
About that.
Excuse
pasa
me,
algo.
but is there something wrong with the latest volume of A Legend of Sword?
Huh? How did you know?
Since you were all aware that Mr. Hirayama needed to send me some supporting materials, that means the editorial director didn't forget about it. Instead, something urgent must have cropped up. To add to that, despite being aware that I am Calx, you were still unwilling to let me go to Mr. Hirayama directly. After considering these factors, the only reason you would try to stall me is if something happened to A Legend of Sword, which...
Well, I'm very sorry.
Vale, parece que
The
nos lo va a
situation
decir.
is just as you said, Calx. Earlier today, someone spotted a suspicious outlander sneaking around inside the Irodori Festival warehouse down by the docks. So they promptly alerted the Tenryou Commission. The Tenryou Commission was concerned about potential cargo theft, so they contacted everyone who was renting space in the warehouse. It was then that we realized that the latest copies of A Legend of Sword had suddenly gone missing.
What? The books are missing?
Shh, not so loud. Not only is this book an eagerly anticipated release in the last phase of the Irodori Festival, but the author, Chin-Yu, will be personally attending the release party as well.
Because of the dire situation, Mr. Hirayama immediately hurried to the warehouse to determine whether the theft was related to that suspicious outlander.
I see. It would be a great misfortune if A Legend of Sword would not be released on schedule. And quite a disappointment for Chen-Yu as well. If Mr. Hirayama has gone to the warehouse at the docks, then I'll go down to see if I can be of any help.
So the author of A Legend of Sword is Jin-Yu. Sounds familiar. Hey, isn't that Xingqiu's pen name?
Oh, do you know him?
Somos viejos amigos.
Xingqiu would definitely be upset if he discovers his books are missing. Let's accompany Albedo to the warehouse too.
Vale, pues parece que tenemos que acompañar a Albedo al almacén. Así que nada, vamos a ver qué está pasando. El almacén está bastante cerca, así que no debería haber problema. Lo que sí que está interesándome bastante la historia. ¡Ojo! ¡Venti, Venti, Venti! Adiós a la historia. Está Venti. El borracho de... ¡Ojo! Cuyo usará, le va a decir. Te voy a quitar todo el alcohol. Bueno. Se palpa la tensión en el ambiente.
It's you! Why are you
¡El barco de
I'm here on
pacotilla!
behalf
Ah,
of
no,
the
Cuyo,
Tenryou
espera.
Commission, of course.
No, Sarah, Paimon wasn't talking about you. So, Tone Deaf Bard, the suspicious outlander in the warehouse wouldn't happen to be you, would it?
Considering the evidence, it appears that the suspicious outlander is indeed me.
As I have told you, you are a suspect. Before your allegations of theft and illegal entry as a stowaway are cleared, you are to remain silent. Don't make me say it again. Traveler, Paimon, do you know this self-proclaimed bard from Mondstadt?
Bueno, ciertamente no es un extraño, es un arconte. Ahí te lo dejo caer.
Listen, Sarah, knowing him, it's safe to say that he wasn't behind the theft. But what's this about being a stowaway?
Although he claims to be a special guest for the Irodori Festival, he's failed to present his invitation letter. Therefore, we can only suspect that he might have entered the country illegally. And just a moment ago, we caught him in a dandelion wine crate near the Sailing Breeze.
¿Podemos hacerle unas preguntas?
If it would help shed any light on the situation, then please, be my guest.
Oh, Venti! You didn't really come here illegally, did you?
Ouch, your words wound me. We've been apart for so long, and the moment we meet again, all I'm greeted with is grilling questions and suspicious glares. You arrived in Inazuma via similar means, or so I heard.
Ahí
You of all
justamente nos ha
people
dado
should be
un
more
golpe de realidad,
understanding,
Venti.
don't you think?
Sí.
Similar means?
Bueno, eso es agua pasada, Cuyo. Ya no vamos a sacar más el tema. Vamos a seguir con el tema del evento, va.
I merely jest. Fear not, for the person who sent me the invitation is none other than Kamisato Ayato of Yashiro Commission. It's unlikely that someone acquainted with the likes of him would ever be here illegally, right?
But why weren't you on the same ship as the other bards?
Well, once I received the invitation letter, I couldn't help but want to come to Inazuma a little early. It was then that I happened upon a cargo ship bound for Inazuma transporting dandelion wine. So, naturally, I decided to set sail with them. Once aboard, I found the captain to be a kindred spirit, and I was treated to an abundance of fine liquor along the way. I must have fallen asleep in the cargo crate while carefully comparing the tastes of dandelion wine and Inazuman sake. And when I woke up, I found myself in this warehouse with a Tenryou Commission general glaring at me from atop the grate.
Coming from Venti, this story is quite believable. But it still feels a bit...
Ridículo.
Excuse me, I'm the owner of the stolen goods from the IA publishing house, and there are some questions I would like to ask you. Based on what you just said, it seems you've been in the warehouse for some time now. If that's the case, did you happen to hear anything unusual?
A ver si ha escuchado algo.
Actually, I did hear some faint footsteps around me a couple of times, but I didn't consider the sound anything out of the ordinary.
Hmm? But if you clearly heard something, why didn't you feel it was unusual?
Oh, I seem to understand now.
Huh? What did you notice, Albedo?
When it comes to burglars, they are generally associated with prying or rummaging through things. What Venti means is that he did not hear anything unusual like that. As for the sound of footsteps,
Vale. Aquí está Albedo,
because this is a
detective
warehouse
privado.
where many goods are coming in and out each day, it is quite normal for people to be walking around.
I see. But if that's the case, then we're back to square one regarding the stolen books.
No, not quite. From the facts that have been presented to us, we can draw at least 3 conclusions now. First, whoever took the novels is not a spur-of-the-moment burglar. They had their sights on the books from the very beginning. Second, the culprit was very familiar with the warehouse, and might even have a
Vale,
key.
o sea, que conoce el almacén,
And
tiene
third-
llave, y la tercera, que no se trata de un único culpable, son varios.
I knew you'd catch on, Traveler. One person couldn't possibly transport so many heavy books in such a short window of time. It must have been a team effort. It goes without saying that Venti clearly does not match up with our culprits.
Yes, I agree with your reasoning. Mr. Hirayama, the Tenryou Commission will continue by investigating the warehouse staff. If you come across any further clues,
Please notify us immediately.
Yes, understood. I'll leave it to you then.
I suppose I'm free as a bird then.
Not so fast. Even though we've cleared the theft allegations, we still haven't ascertained whether your arrival in Inazuma was legal or not.
Aw, 'tis a shame. I thought surely after my honest account you might let me off the hook.
Sara's quite the meticulous one. So, where's your invitation letter, Venti?
Yes, the invitation letter. I'm truly sorry.
No sabe ni dónde la ha puesto. Venti en estado puro.
How could you lose something so important?
Es Venti.
Don't be mistaken.
Paimon, no preguntes.
I was well aware of how important it was. But I didn't bring any luggage with me, and the letter was too big to fit in my pocket. So I kept it in my hand the whole trip. Strange. Though I had a little too much to drink, I know that I kept it in a secure place. I even recall being most pleased at coming up with a good idea at the time.
If you were holding the invitation in your hand the whole time, then why did you put
Para
it
empinar
down?
el codo, Paimon.
Well, to properly compare the taste of
Lo sabía.
Mondstadt wine and Inazuman sake, I had to hold a glass in each
Estaba claro
hand.
que iba a tener con...
I couldn't both
con
hold
beber
the
algo.
invitation and a glass at the same time.
In which case,
Vale.
I believe there's only one place it could be.
Huh? You're way ahead of Paimon.
¿En su gorro?
Ah, yes. I remember now.
Vale, pues ahí está. Tiene la carta en el gorro. Perfecto. Vale, pues parece que tiene una
This is
invitación, así
indeed
que
an
todo
invitation
está bien
letter
con Cuyo
issued.
Sara.
However, starting tonight, I would advise you to stay at the International Trade Association. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be leaving now.
Vale, pues Cuyo Sara se va. Y nos quedamos con Albedo y con el Tito Venti, el beodo de Mondstadt.
Let's go talk to Mr. Hirayama about...
Vale, vamos a buscar al
Mr.
señor Hirayama.
I'm Calx. We had originally arranged to meet today.
Ah, yes, so you are Calx. I'm very sorry that you've arrived in Inazuma only to find such a mess. These are the materials regarding the 5 Kasen. All the information that we could find is compiled here.
Vale, aquí está, sobre los 5 Kasen. Los 5 Kasen son personajes de una antigua leyenda de Inazuma. Se dice que recibieron este nombre debido a su gran don para la creación artística. También dicen que la Shogun era una gran admiradora de sus obras y que cada un año los 5 recopilaban en un libro sus nuevas canciones y las enviaban al Tenshukukaku para que la Shogun diera su opinión al respecto. Los 5 Kasen eran Suikou, Ai no Okima, Akahito, Sumizone y Kuronushi. Hoy en día ya es imposible averiguar sus nombres reales, sin embargo una teoría bastante extendida es que como muchas de las historias de los 5 Kasen se comenzaron a representar en los escenarios. Estos personajes empezaron a diferenciarse por el color de su ropa, verde, azul, rojo, blanco y negro, con el fin de que el público distinguiera mejor. Así la gente comenzó a llamar a los Kasen por medio de sus colores representativos. No obstante, también hay otras teorías como que el nombre de Suikou se debe al nombre de su cabaña de paja, el estudio Suikou, o que Akahito se llama así porque le gustaba poner sellos escarlata en todas sus obras. Sobre las 5 historias de los 5 Kasen. Los 5 Kasen fueron personajes de gran relevancia en la vida de todos y las obras que protagonizaron fueron muy populares en toda Inazuma. Es una auténtica lástima que a pesar de todas las historias que se han transmitido sobre ellos, el contenido de estas no sea fiable a día de hoy, pues es muy probable que se perdieran durante la catástrofe que tuvo lugar hace 500 años. Los registros se conservan actualmente y nos permiten saber que durante la época dorada de su composición poética las obras de los 5 atendían al mismo formato, grupos de 4 poemas en los que cada poema estaba escrito desde la perspectiva de uno de los Kasen. Los 4 poemas juntos formaban una historia completa y lo más interesante de todo es que parece que no hay ningún poema escrito desde la perspectiva de Kuronushi. Vale, aquí está el informe de cada uno. Suikou, gran amante del licor, nació de familia humilde, tenía una personalidad despreocupada y desinhibida. Se dice que le dieron el nombre de Suikou porque vivía en el estudio Suikou. El típico Venti de la vida. Ayudar no Okina, gran maestro del ajedrez, de él se conservan sus poemas como novelas. Algunos piensan que triunfó profesionalmente a una edad tardía y que anteriormente había trabajado en el shogunato. Vale. Otros creen que no era humano, sino un longevo demonio reencarnado. Me mola. Akahito, diestro espadachín, es muy probable que naciera en una familia de guerreros. Se dice que el nombre viene de su manía por colocar un sello escarlata en todas las obras que escribía. Sumizome en el pasado fue un amigo, tenía un gran don para el ikebana y la danza. Más tarde trabajó como doncella para la Shogun. Algunos afirman que cuando se hizo famosa abandonó su puesto. Otros dicen que permaneció junto a Shogun hasta el final. Puede que sea Yaimiko, no lo sé. Y bueno, luego está Kuronushi. Poca información. Tal vez esas son las historias que se cuentan de los 5 Kasen. Su personaje y personalidad son mucho más complejos que los del resto, ¿vale?
Let's see here. Yes, it's just as I had suspected. Monikers such as Suikou and Aoi no Okina aren't the real names of the 5 Kasen. Though there were once many stories regarding each of the 5 Kasen, the validity of their contents can no longer be verified in present times. Alas, what a shame. But at the very least, we know that most of the stories were written according to a similar style, so there is still something we may glean from this.
So, is the info useful for your paintings, Albedo?
To some extent, yes. However, I must admit that it is still lacking and fails to fulfill the most crucial element.
I am sorry that this information is not as exhaustive as you had hoped. However, it is not possible to gather anything more, though Lady Yae did say that there are many variations of the story about the 5 Kasen, and everyone has a different story in their heart. So all you need to do is follow through with what's in your own heart, and create...
That does sound like something Miko would say.
Thank you, Mr. Hiroyama. No need to worry. I'll find inspiration for the portraits.
Great. I'll leave it to you then, Calx. Oh, and there's one more thing I need to ask of everyone. Tomorrow morning, Mr. Genyu, the author of A Legend of Sword, will be arriving in Inazuma by boat. If you see him, please do not mention the stolen novels for the time being. Whether the stolen books are eventually recovered or not, the Yae Publishing House will do its best to ensure that the novel's release is a success.
Entendido.
You have my gratitude. I'll be going then.
Well, seems there's nothing more we can do here. Let's go.
Vale. Venti, ¿qué haces ahí?
What are you, traveler? Albedo, would you mind coming over here for a moment? There's something peculiar that I think you should see.
A saber lo que es. Informe de los 5 Kasen, ¿no? Vale, vamos a hablar con Venti. Me parece guay la historia, se la han currado. ¿Papel?
Indeed. When I awakened to find myself in the warehouse this morning, I discovered
O
this
sea, el tío ha
paper
dormido
in
ahí
the
de...
cargo crate
Yo
where I
lo
was
flipo con
sleeping.
Venti.
I didn't think much of it then. I thought it was merely a scrap piece of paper that had fallen into the cargo. But on second thought, I think it's worth having you take a look at what's written on it.
Vale, el esplendor de los 5 Kasen, Suikou. Mi hogar dista del mundo y de su frialdad, mas el clamor de mi fama perturba mi tranquilidad. A Tenshukaku me encamino, solo para descubrir que los versos de Aoi se han perdido. Todopoderosa Shogun, su perdón suplico. Conté todo mi saber sobre el capítulo perdido. Ebrio del aroma del licor, una sombra errante deambula a mi alrededor. Un indeseable traidor me despojó de los versos y todo mi pundonor.
Let me see. Suikou chapter.
Claro que es uno de los que
The
dicen.
story told in this poem roughly boils down to Suikou getting tipsy and letting some poems
Borracho.
that were... This story sounds familiar to my ear. Where have I heard it?
Seriously? It's literally the same story you just experienced yesterday.
Oh, indeed it is. Interesting, isn't it?
Pienso que guarda relación con los libros perdidos.
Yes, I concur. The person who left this paper could quite possibly be the criminal. But why leave the paper here in such a fashion? And if the one who left it here was a witness, why didn't they attempt to stop the burglary?
Complicado de saber esto, ¿no?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Meeting together in Inazuma like this is a most rare
Ah, no,
occasion.
tira, vamos a buscar una
Since
taberna,
we've
lo
been
sabía.
busy from this...
Hey! You just sobered up and you're already thinking about more drinks?
A ver, Paimon, es Venti. Te lo recuerdo.
And let's not forget that Albedo still has a portrait to complete.
No, it's fine. Let's all go for a drink together. It'll be my treat.
Ya invita al Albedo.
What about your portrait?
As I mentioned before, I'm the kind of artist who can work quickly once I'm
Va a inspirarse en
inspired.
Venti.
If I use a model as reference for the piece, we must pay him back with the appropriate
Lo
recompense.
sabía.
In that case, we'll need to order more dishes.
Pues nada, parece que ya tenemos aquí a la primera víctima, ¿no? Del arte.
The
Un
poet
año.
Suikou
El
made
poeta
his
Suikou
way to
emprendió su travesía a
Tenshukaku
Tenshukaku.
and presented the
Y
Kasen's
presentó
work for the
la obra
shogun's
de los
perusal.
Kasen ante la
But a
Shogun.
page from the works of
Pero habían
Aoi no
arrancado una
Okina
página.
had been torn out, and Suikou was
Por lo que
questioned
preguntaron a
regarding the
Suikou al
matter.
respecto.
Suikou
Suikou
pleaded
se declaró
guilty.
culpable.
He admitted to drinking at the
Admitió haber
tavern
estado
the night
bebiendo en la
before,
taberna la noche
and
anterior.
vaguely
Y recordó
recalled a
vagamente una figura
mysterious
misteriosa
figure approaching while he was
que se acercó mientras él
intoxicated.
estaba ebrio.
Wow,
Wow, Albedo, eres el mejor. Terminaste el primer retrato antes de la ceremonia de inauguración. Ahí está Venti el Beodo.
Yes, it really is a sight to behold. Not only does it harken to the traditional style of Inazuma, but it also makes use of
Está
modern
muy guay.
aesthetics.
Hay que decir que Albedo dibuja
My
que
figure is
flipas.
particularly striking. Even though I'm sound asleep in the portrait, I still appear as glorious as always.
Hey, don't get too full of yourself, tone-deaf bard. You were just a model. The person in the artwork isn't actually you. Well, Albedo, who will be your next portrait?
The next one will be Aoi no Okina of the 5 Kasen.
Albedo, might I suggest waiting a little before starting on the next one? Who knows? You might soon discover another story.
Another story?
I believe he's referring to the possibility of finding another paper with tales of the 5 Kasen. According to the reference materials I was given, we've only found the first of a total of 4 chapters.
Do you think the mysterious person who left the first paper will strike again?
It certainly is a possibility. Also, there are some points regarding the stories of the 5 Kasen that have... For example, the reference materials make mention of 5 legendary figures, yet all the popular stories only consist of 4 parts.
Uno será el traidor,
It
¿no?
appears that throughout all the stories, there is never a chapter dedicated to Kuronushi.
Yes, I'm also curious about these stories myself. But who knows? They may merely be akin to the old saying
Aprovecha
in
hasta para
Mondstadt.
soltarnos ahí el discursito de
Seeds of
Mondstadt.
stories brought. So for now, we need but just wait patiently.
Vale, pues parece que aquí Venti ya nos lo ha dicho todo, así que el cuento de Suikou El Borracho completado. Y ahora, como ya sabéis, vamos a ir desbloqueando cosas, ¿no? Aquí está, el Festival de Irodori ha comenzado. Vale, aquí está, en este caso, como podéis ver, hay varias misiones, ¿vale? Esto nos va a desbloquear la lírica estelar. Y aquí pues podemos ver las pinturas, que es una cosa que me ha parecido bastante guay, porque realmente queda bien. O sea, ya veis que este festival tiene muchas cosas que hacer, obviamente. Así que creo que puede ser muy divertido, ¿no? Lo que digo, ahora ya tenemos la parte de la lírica estelar, es algo que iremos viendo poco a poco. Pero bueno, todo esto lo iremos viendo, ¿no? Tranquilamente, mientras vamos completando. Voy a estar estos días muy centrado en subir Genshin y subir también el tema de el Skywalker Saga, así que no os preocupéis porque todo esto se va a venir y vamos a ir trayendo un montón de contenido divertido al canal. Nada más que decir, si os ha gustado el vídeo, por favor, dejad el buen like, suscribiros y ya sabéis, nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.